What's up, fish tank people? FishTankTV.com. Dustin's Fish Tanks bringing it to you on a Sunday, baby. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing fabulous. I hope you're doing fantastic as well. Today, it's Sunday. I gotta show you around what I got going on in the greenhouse. We are going from keeping heat in the greenhouse to getting heat out of the greenhouse. I've also got about a 10,000 plant import coming that pretty much is the largest I've ever done. And I want to show you how I'm able to prepare for that, what I'm doing to prepare for it. I'm super excited about it, but it's a crap load of work. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing to make my life freaking easier. Show you the rack system I'm building and why I'm doing it, how I'm going to do easy water changes. But it's Sunday, it's Species Sunday. I've got a plant that's taking over the Planet Aquarium market by storm. I'm going to show you how I keep in some tricks with keeping this special species. But first, let's start off in the greenhouse. First, let's talk about the greenhouse. Okay, so we've successfully completed another winter in the greenhouse. This winter wasn't as bad as we've had in the past, so it wasn't overly difficult. I've been doing this 4 years now. The biggest thing people always want to know is, how do I heat the greenhouse? As I've said in other videos, you can click the links around here on it. I don't heat the actual greenhouse. I heat the water in the greenhouse. The trick I have found is to use large bodies of water. The bigger the amount of water, the less you have to worry about temperature swings. I want to stick here for a minute. This holds true with your own tanks as well. There is certainly something to be said about larger aquariums. Anyone who's been in this hobby a while will probably agree that the bigger the tank, the ultimately easier it is. You'll have more room to screw up. A larger body of water can handle a random dead fish that won't spike your ammonia levels. A larger body of water theoretically should have more nutrients available in the water column for whatever you are trying to grow. A rookie starting out would be better served with a 20 or 30 gallon out of the gate than a 5 or 10 gallon. More room to screw it up. I try to run with 75 gallons as the minimum size in the greenhouse, as if I do an external temperature drop, the swing will not be that bad in a 75 gallon tank. The plants can handle this, but the fish not so much, and I have learned this lesson the hard way. Many years ago, I tried to keep some fancy goldfish in here. The temps in the greenhouse would heat up and raise their metabolism. They would eat a ton, and the temperatures would drop down. They would quickly slow down and not be able to digest the gorging they just did. I killed a few sweet telescope eye goldfish this way. But it isn't just about heating the tanks. We need to try to somewhat keep the heat from leaving the greenhouse. So we put on what I like to call the condom on. Stick with me here, folks. What I use is a solar pool cover liner. These things are freaking fabulous at keeping the heat in the greenhouse. I would go as far as to recommend using them if you're trying to do any kind of outside building or project to keep the heat in. You all in northern states with greenhouses, this is simply a must-do. They come in many different millimeter sizes. I think this one is about 10 millimeters, and you do get what you pay for. I think this was around 400 bucks. It was money well spent, as it had lasted me about 3 winters now. I actually used 2 of them, one on each side of the greenhouse, and covered the entire thing. But it's springtime, and what's great in the winter simply has to go. Now here's the funky part. I have a lot of super hot days with full sun where it gets blazing hot, but then at night the temperatures hit around freezing. So I leave the covers on until around April to avoid these big swings. The cover's coming off now, and we're left wide open in full sun. And you know what likes full sun? You guessed it. Aquarium plants. One of my favorite Instagrow plants is the Liguigia rippens, which I talked about last week, which sits in this upper tank right here. This tank gets blasted with full freaking sunlight. The plant goes totally wild. A bunch of plants go wild here, including wisteria. Nope, they are getting everything. Full spectrum. They're getting it in high doses. It's not just what a manufacturer wants to put in a light bulb. My babies are getting hit with both the UV end of the spectrum and the red to infrared end of the spectrum, not just found in most fixtures, unless you're running halides. But more on that some other time. And you know what else likes full sun besides your boy G? Aquarium plants. And that's what I want to show you out here in the greenhouse. I'll also show you the Betta Fish that I got at Tong's Tropicals out in OC. Loving this big boy right here. That's one of my beauties. So the aquarium plants get hit in full freaking sunlight. Totally loving watching baby tears just go nuts in this tank. Put the Betta Fish up here intentionally. I'm going to talk about this species here in a minute. These plants are in full freaking sunlight, and what they're doing is they're eating and eating and eating everything out of the water. So I need to make it easy on myself to do the water changes in here. Like I said, I've also got about 10,000 aquarium plants coming later this week, so I want to show you what I've got going on. Project's not quite finished, but it's pretty close. It's all about the easy water changes, folks. Everybody will say it.
here's what we're doing. I have drilled these tanks out. Note I used a pretty large bit here, drilled it nice and slow, got it going. Our friends at Gemco always hooking it up with the drill. They talked to the guy John, he's the man. And then what I've done is I put this down real low. Now the goal is to be able to remove as much of this water as possible out of this tank. You'll notice it's still leaking slightly here. I need to get the bushings a little bit tighter. But nonetheless, this will ultimately work. Nobody's perfect, but all I gotta do now, let's say this is full of plants, it's in full sunlight, the plants are eating everything like crazy. All I've gotta do is either remove this cap right here or remove this bottom part down low. So I'm gonna go low here, cap or the bottom. Bottom's gonna come out. I'm gonna be quick about this, but watch this. I'll take this out and boom, that's gushing into there. Time is money when it comes to mine, take it in blood. That's fast. We want to stop it. We stick this back in. Boom. That's stopped. Plugged again. So now really what I could do is take the cap off. I could do about a 50% water change in almost no time. I take this pipe right here. This pipe runs from here to here, the Black Mamba. Clip it on there and I roll. So I can do water changes in almost no time. Here's another shot of the bulkhead. Yeah, I mean, these are like $5. The bit was expensive. The bit was like 60 bucks, but it's totally worth spending the money on. But folks, it's Sunday. But it's Sunday. It's Species Sunday. You all know that I was a history major by now. You know I love Alexander the Great, one of the greatest conquerors in all of antiquity. He had one of the most famous horses in all of antiquity, and that horse's name was Buce. Pretty fat horse, pretty fat name. Same name as Bucephalandra, derived from that. Bucephalandra stuff comes from Indonesia. I gotta show you, I just got some of it in. Look, I put it underneath a halide because I have seen a better photosynthetic response with it underneath the metal halide. It gets this crazy, crazy color. This camera may not pick up that light, so I'm gonna pull it over here and show it to you like this. I've got this stuff right here. The problem with it is that, in the words of one of my great suppliers, honey, it ain't come with a birth certificate. So there's not a lot with like the scientific names with it. It's just called where it's from all over the place. This is a mini variety right here. And I keep this stuff in full sun. It likes the ultraviolet light. I'm getting a better response with this plant underneath the metal halide in my B26 than I am in the no maintenance tank. You can see the stuff here. Totally a beginner plant, super easy. You know, they say it's a slow grower. You can see the new growth I've got coming right here. When it gets hit with full sun, this plant has been deprived because it's been shipped for a while, but it's already putting off new looking growth. So you love that here. And then I've also got it in full sun. There's no better comparison than to say it crystals like dank buds. I mean, this stuff just like, boom, if you're into that sort of thing, just has these like shiny little crystals on it. I hope you can see that. And I get that when it's under great lighting. Totally a huge fan of this stuff. They say it likes lower light. Look, I put in as much sun as possible and it perks up quickly as possible, but it likes to absorb the stuff out of the nutrients in the water column. So what I do is I do the big water changes, which is why I have the setups like this so I can get the water out quickly. Here's another look at it from above. We'll pull it in here. Bucephalandra, this is the stuff I use in the no maintenance tank. You simply tie it on to the trees. You can see the clip of the no maintenance tank. But this is how I'm rolling. Buce in full sun, huge water changes. I mean, like super easy plant. Like Brian, the king of Anubias, has been finally come onto this because it's like Anubias, only cooler. Obviously, it's available on my site. But yeah, Bucephalandra. Let me know how you deal with Bucephalandra. I got this type in, I got this type in, and I got this mini stuff in that I'm totally loving. And you can see it's sitting in full sunlight right here. I mean, like there's the sun. There's the full sun right there. Big water changes. And happy, happy, happy little plants. Yeah, folks. Boy D's loving it. So that's what's up. So do me a favor, if you like what I'm doing, subscribe. Let me know what you think about these fast water changes. Have a fabulous freaking week. Stay tuned for some videos updating on the big old import I have coming in and a nice fat sale behind it. Everybody have a fabulous freaking week and tank on. Check out this, dude. Dude, you're 180. Can we get real on the 180?
We're real.
We're real. All right, but no, I want to get like, you just recently purchased this tank, right? You haven't had this tank for long. When did you start talking to get the tank? Give us like the backstory.
15 years ago, we bought this tank yesterday.
You bought the tank yesterday.
It's been on order for 3 weeks.
It's been on order for 3 weeks. Wow.
Dude, it looks fantastic.